What's going on, guys, and welcome into the channel. So today we have a very interesting video that I want to dive into because it is going to really impact, I think, a lot of people who are striving to be active traders and those who are turning to social media for the answers. Especially the past couple of months, I think it's really weeded out a lot of people who are looking to be consistent or looking to be around for the long term. Obviously, they go through periods where, things are a little bit tougher, markets are choppy potentially for what you're trading, or markets are really good. And so everyone kind of goes through those ups and downs. And I think that a lot of people, as easy as it was the end of last year into early 2021, it was so easy to make money, pretty much buy whatever you want. Everything went up, right? Recovering from the pandemic and whatnot. So now, as it's become more of like, okay, now do you actually know what you're doing? Why is stuff moving up? Why does stuff move down? Pullbacks and risk management, right? Understanding that stuff, people are looking more and more to have someone hold their hand and guide them, which is good and bad. So we want to talk about someone who is so-called a stock picker here in today's video and how they were just caught red-handed front-loading penny stocks and OTC stocks more specifically. I think this is one of the nastiest places that a lot of people will always get caught up in the hype of an OTC stock, and many times you're too late. By the time you hear about an OTC stock, you're too late. For example, LTNC. We had a video recently talking about LTNC. Now, who knows what happens in the future, right? But at one point, it was like up around like 8 cents. The thing was down back to like 1 cent in a couple weeks. Now, there were a lot of people who were asking LTNC. I saw in my comments, months back, like LTNC. And I was like, guys, I don't know what that, I don't know much about it. I don't play OTC. It is what it is. Yeah, it's pretty popular on social media. I knew about it. But anytime stocks take the stair step up and the elevator right on down. So just make sure you're aware of that. And you need to be careful, especially in the OTC. It's just a different world as it is. But in this video, now I'm not necessarily calling out just one person, but here's the account. This guy, Stocks Pilgrim on Twitter. I follow a lot of people on Twitter. I actually don't follow him, but I found this on Twitter. And then this guy, West Coast Closer, right? So this DM, I believe, is from somebody else, but it was posted by this guy, Stocks Pilgrim, right? And here's this guy, West Coast Closer. If you guys look him up, he has a decent following and he trades and whatnot. And I don't know. I don't follow these people. I don't really know much about them specifically in terms of what they do day to day. All I know is that they trade stocks on social media and they talk about what they're buying, why, and they whatever. Okay, they start talking. He messages this guy and he goes, okay, also delete your tweet if you found something you don't want others in on it yet, right? Because here's the thing, what does that mean? If you found something, you don't want others in on it yet. What does that mean? That means you don't want to just say, hey, check this out. You want to load the boat before you say anything, especially in the OTC, especially on super low float stocks where there's not that many shares available. If people buy up a ton of shares, right, you can tie up the float or you can make that stock move very fast. And so if that volume comes in all at once, these stocks can move. And in the OTC, you're not talking about 10%, 5%. You're talking hundreds of percentage points can move very quick. So that's the thing. And there are people out there on social media who literally that's all they do is they will buy these stocks and they have these burner accounts. And I'm not saying this is a burner account. I'm just saying this is not necessarily just this guy, this one example. This happens all the time, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not. All these accounts on social media, you don't know who's behind them. You don't know what the actual intent is. But many times they could be pointing out a stock. They might not actually know what they're talking about. They may point out this news and it could be old news or it could be BS or whatever. And that could pump the stock where people start buying on in. And next thing you know, the stock's up and they're selling into you, right? They're making their money because they got it nice and low and they're selling it into you. So this guy got called out. There was back and forth. I don't care to get into the drama behind it. I really don't care calling names and whatever. I just, no. But the point of this, right, is just legitimately that. Like, you need to understand this game and understand if you're going to trade penny stocks and small cap stocks and OTC stocks, you need to know how this game is played by a lot of players because this is what they do. So make sure, I think it's a really good example for, call outs on Twitter, call outs on social media. Make sure you're never buying a stock because somebody is buying it or someone says they're buying the stock. People don't understand that realistically, right? It's not that difficult. And I have tons of videos going through, on this channel, what I do to find stocks, how I find stocks, and how I utilize social media as a screener But then ultimately I come back to my own stuff and I look at my own stuff and I'm taking a peek. Do I actually like the stock? How do the technicals set up? How, let me look at how much cash, let me look at the recent earnings reports. And it's not very difficult. All the information is readily available for free online. It's not like you have to go pay somebody to, tell you what calls they're going to take, right? Obviously, if you're doing that, good chances that they're already in before they tell you about it, right? Just the name of the game. That's how that stuff works. The problem is that that type of stuff is what gets the views. That type of stuff is what people kind of gravitate towards because they feel a sense of like community almost when they're doing the same thing as somebody else and they know there's other people around them. They're all in it together. For example, AMC, they're all in it together. GameStop, all in it together. These short squeezes, right? People feel like they're all in it together. And so there's a sense of community in some sense and people feel, quite good about that. Now, the problem is when the stock market works is that, most people, right, are going to lose money. And so obviously if you're investing long-term, it's a different story. But if you're looking for short-term trades, penny stocks and whatnot, most people are going to lose money. Let's just be real. Most people will lose money. So the question becomes, do you want to be doing what most people are doing? Or do you want to try to figure something out for yourself and do something for yourself and not necessarily put yourself in the same camp as most people on a short-term trade? Many times, right, in the short term, the side that everybody's on is the side that loses, right? So unless you're in super early, you get screwed. Now, here's one example from today I want to point out. Where is it? USCG. This is an oil stock. This is a stock that went from sub $4 this morning to almost $8 this afternoon, and then has just faded off. Now, I'm not going to say that this was a pump, but I did see chat rooms, Twitter, social media, right? It got tossed around. Buy in here, and it got halted up, and it did quite well. The problem is, if you're someone who has no idea what's going on and you're buying this stock up here over $7, your risk reward is really not great because you see somebody on Twitter that says it's going to go to 10. Now, sure, could it have gone to 10? Sure. But just because you saw somebody that said it was going to go to 10 doesn't mean it's going to go to 10. And now they may be in from sub 5. So if they are in from sub $5 before like one of these halts back in here, right? That's an example of someone potentially front loading this thing and then talking about it, hey, this is going to run. Boom, next thing you know, all the volume comes in, it hits the scanners and it's up massive. They're up great because they're immediately up before they tell anybody. Meanwhile, this is a low float stock. It's like a sub 5 million float stock, which means there's less than 5 million shares available to trade in the public. So do the math. When you start getting volume bars coming in of 1 million shares being traded in literally a 5-minute span, the entire float was traded. On a couple of these volume bars, we see over 4 million, almost 5 million shares traded. The entire float is traded in just 5 minutes. You can start to see how fast this thing can move because you're just tying up the float and this thing is going to go. There's massive volume. So if you're not in early, you end up being caught in here. Do I sell? Is it going to come back? What should I do? Next thing you know, man, it's down here. You're in from 7, it's down to 5, and you're like, what do I do? And it's too big of a loss to cut it, and you're like, well, I might as well just hold it in case it goes. And that's just not where you want to be sitting yourself at because at the end of the day, that's not a winning strategy. So I want to make sure you're aware of that. Obviously, right, everyone's going to have, their own preferences and how they like to trade and how they like to buy stuff. But if you are buying after somebody is tweeting, talking about it on social media, hyping it on up, good chance you're going to be getting in a lot higher, and you need to at least understand your risk reward is not the same as theirs. And if they have a stop loss on their trade, they may be up 10% from the call out. They put a stop loss on, they're not going to lose. You, on the other hand, are potentially looking at a much bigger downside if things don't keep running, if things don't pan out. And that's what I want to make sure people are aware of going forward, especially if you are watching people on social media for callouts and you're waiting for the next call out. Learn how to do this yourself, or if not, you are much better off taking big picture approaches, buying on red days, looking at stocks as swing trades and not necessarily a day trade, short-term investment type stuff. If it's something that you're not willing to put in the time to do a little bit of research yourself for. So appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button down below and leave a comment down below. Let us know in the comment section down below what stock has burned you recently. Okay, I'm curious to hear you guys. I know AHT is one that burned me recently, and that one actually just took a dump to sub $2. It's actually bouncing back, but that's one that has burned me massively. And to be honest, I will completely be honest there. I got caught up in the social media hype and I still believe that it was a good play. However, I got caught up in that hype and it burned me. So it was a perfect example right there. AHT. Here it is. Hit up to over $7 and then now is down around $2. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what stock has burned you the most, and just make sure you're paying attention to this stuff, right? Make sure you do a little bit of due diligence before you just follow somebody's calls and whatnot. That's what I do here on this channel. I always talk about, right? I talk about the stocks I'm in. I'm not telling you to buy anything. Every single week I talk about the stocks I am in. And that's it. Obviously, it's up to you to do your research because I can't, hold your hand through everything. I talk about what I'm doing and I make my moves for myself because ultimately I am the one clicking my buttons and you're clicking your buttons on your phone, computer, and whatever it is, whether you're trading, investing for the long term. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This platform is Webull. You can get 2 free stocks when you sign up deposit. Just $5 as of right now. Also, there's links down below to other resources and stuff that I use. Take advantage of those things. There's some stuff in there that could help you guys out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.